Good morning. Good morning, Facebook, Instagram family. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Back to the World, my brother and my sister's keeper. I'm Tony. Thank you guys for coming on board. If you have any comments, questions, or anything that you care to share this morning, hit me in the boxes down below. And on YouTube, hit the like button, ring the bell, and subscribe if you will. Okay? Anyway, thank you guys for coming on this morning. Man, got quite a few things to talk about, man. I just hope that I can stay on subject for about this next 30 minutes or so. You know, not kind of jump around. You know, I had an interesting evening yesterday. You know, I went to one of my favorite spots, the Cigar Lounge. And you know, I met some gentlemen there, I met some guys there, man. We just had a very, very interesting conversation, and you know, dialogue was good. Nobody tried to dominate the circle, the whole bit. All right. All you guys on, thank you guys for coming on. So, you know, we sat down and we talked about a few of the guys. They knew my story, they knew my past, and they were happy to see me as I was them. Good morning, Monty. Okay. And we sat and we talked, man, and man, we got some clarity. But there were some younger guys there, guys I didn't know, and we sat there and we talked. And they embraced my story, man. They loved my story and everything. And, you know, they were just, you know, showering praise on me the whole bit. It was very uncomfortable. But at the same time, they didn't know that I was uncomfortable with that sort of praise being heaped upon me. But, you know, I concealed my discomfort, and you know, we went on with the evening. But there were young successful guys. Right? One of them was 42 years old. The other one was 38, and you know, they're from a different generation. When I was incarcerated, let's see, one should have been about maybe 8 years old. one should have been about 8 years old, and or at least 10, and the other one should have been about maybe 14 years old. So they were very young kids, and you know, life hadn't really began for them business-wise until maybe another 10 years for the both of them. But what I'm getting at, we were talking about the plight of our community, us as a people, you know, the lack of unity and everything. And I'm not gonna lie to you, ladies and gentlemen, I get frustrated when we talk about it. It's like opening up, you know, an old wound. It's like picking at a scab. And especially when you know what the answer is, when you know what the solutions are, it really, really frustrates you, right? So, you know, we got into dialogue about that, and I was telling them about a response, someone's reply on my timeline, on my Facebook timeline, and one of my good friends, Brother Darrell Griffith, you know, the car haggler, you know, he posted a video. And on the video, he posted a liquor store. And he was narrating as he was videoing, and he was saying, here's a liquor store in the hood. This liquor store is owned by Chinese. He said Chinese, but they could have been Vietnamese, they could have been Korean, whatever the situation, but they were Asian. And And as he panned the parking lot of the liquor store was full. And he was saying that that parking lot is full like that just about every weekend, starting on Fridays, Friday evenings. Okay? As he panned the camera around further, we saw a group of people gathered, right? And they were gathered around, and everybody's drinking, and someone in the group is selling food. I don't know if hot dogs, barbecue, whatever it may have been, but someone was selling food on the side, and everyone's drinking. Everyone's got a cup. They had lawn chairs out. What it looked like a tailgate party, but it's in the parking lot of a liquor store, right? So, when they run out of alcohol, all they had to do, I guess, was just walk right over a few feet away, a few yards away, rather, and purchase more alcohol. The store was crowded. You can see quite a few people on the inside, and they're coming and they're going, right? But what the brother was illustrating and what he was showing is that most of the people that were in the parking lot were black, right? Just about everyone in the parking lot was black. The parking lot was crowded. It looked like a tailgate party. It had the music playing, the trunks open, the whole nine. And I saw immediately what he was illustrating, but then he narrated and said it. He said, "Hey, look," he said, "this guy is in our community, taking all of our money, and he's not giving anything back, the whole bit. But let me move on. First of all, the guy's not taking the money. The people are handing it over. They're going out and getting more people to come back and bring him money. That's what they're doing when they stay in the parking lot, because they weren't going to their homes to drink or to celebrate. They wanted to be close to the liquor store. So they were handing over the money like it was a ransom, right? And second of all, he really doesn't owe our community anything. Now, we can say what he should do. That's not what he must do. There's a difference in should and must, or shall. He doesn't have to give back to our community because he has a community of his own. Now, it would be more than right if he were to say, okay, this is where I make my living. This is where I make most of my money. So let me contribute back to this community. He owed that community nothing. He brings that money back to his community. And you say, well, why don't he open up a liquor store in his community? Duh, keep in mind. They all probably sell liquors. There are probably 20 or 30 other people within his community that have liquor stores in black neighborhoods, in black communities. So that's the last thing they need. And whenever they celebrate or whatever they have to give, the whole 9 yards, they're contributing the monies that they're earning from the liquor stores to set up a school, to set up a library, to set up a recreational facility, to set up a medical facility, or something to treat the elderly, right? So they owe the community nothing. But I agree wholeheartedly with everything that Brother Griff was showing and saying. Then someone replied to his video, and it was a young lady. I take the liberty to say that she was a young lady because 9 times out of 10, just by her text, she was younger than me. So what she said was that what he didn't know, she knew some of the people that would come over there every week and purchase alcohol and buy and have the lawn chairs set up outside, the whole bit. She knew of these individuals personally, and she says that You know, everyone goes and buy their liquor and they set up in the parking lot, but then there are trucks that are there on the weekends, and food trucks, and most of the food trucks are black, and it's the black people that are setting up their food trucks and selling food to these people that's out there, you know, partying and the whole bit. And she says that there aren't any other liquor stores in the community, so if they want to get their liquor, this is the only place where they can purchase their alcohol. You know, and maybe they'd rather go there than to go to some black store where they're going to charge them $15 or $20 per drink or whatever the situation may be. And she went further to say that she doesn't really care. She doesn't think about, you know, what others do, because they do pretty much what they want to do, right? And she don't concern herself with that. Okay, hey, what's going on, brother Marquise? What's happening, Skinny? So basically, she extracted herself from the situation. She said, what others do, that's no concern of hers. You know, at the end of the day, people do what they want to do. Okay. Now, I commented on that. And I basically said, this is what's wrong with our community right now. Everyone wants to turn a blind eye. We would complain about black people not sticking together, right? We would complain about black people not sticking together, and maybe they should stick together the whole bit. But then when we ask you, get with someone and at least start the movement to stick together, then you say that, you know, you can care less one way or another what a person does, what a grown person do with their deal. So, you know, it's like voting. When you don't vote, you say what you want. But if you don't vote, you truly don't have a voice. You don't have an opinion. It falls on hollow ground. You pretty much get whatever the situation, whatever the status quo gives you, whatever they deliver. You know? It frustrates me to talk about this, because I am black and I'm pro whatever I am, but at the same time too, I'm a conscious thinking person and I understand what makes the world go round. A lot of people have a lot to say, but they have very little to do. They don't want to participate in anything that will unify us and bring us together. There's a reason why the guy who selling you the drinks a bit higher than the Chinese liquor store. Because the Chinese liquor store people, they stick together. He gets a discount. He probably get a different cut. He probably get a different break on his alcohol versus someone that's black. Why? Because he's selling volumes and volumes of liquor to our people. And the black man that owns a liquor store, he can't get that same credit break because he's not selling that much liquor. Don't you know the more you sell in any distribution, the greater discount you'll eventually get? We become our own worst enemies. And you know, that sounds like a cliche, so that's why it hurts me to have to say it and have to repeat it. And we use the term stick together. We're not together to begin with. You know, you don't have to hang out with someone, and you don't have to like someone to be a part of a movement that's trying to bring cohesiveness to the community. In the next 20 years, man, all inner cities are going to damn near be without. You're not going to have a black population within the community. All communities that are near downtown in every major city, they're going to tax you. They're going to tax you right out of the community. Excuse me. Then you're going to live in a country area. You're going to live rural. And I know it's hard to be at home And then you say, well, okay, I got to think of something that I can do. That I'm going to go shop at. No, no, you do it collectively. You do it with a purpose. You get a group of people and you guys shop there on a regular basis. The more you shop, the more you're being seen. And the more you're being seen, the more you're being recognized. The more you're being recognized, the more discount you will eventually get. Right? And if you're in the business of getting ready to start a business, open up that business within the black community and let everyone know that this is what you're doing. And offer them some sort of discount. You know, you can do addition by subtraction. You don't have to sell your bread or any of your other merchandise. You know, you don't have to sell that product for just a few pennies less than what you're getting it for. Give them a break on it. Have a specials day, have a specials week. But anyway, I don't want to get into the marketing strategies, the whole bit. There are people who are far greater than me that can do that, you know. So, as we were talking last night, many of the younger guys were agreeing with what I had to say. And I know it's me here telling this story, and it could appear to be a bit one-sided, but trust me, I'm telling you just how it was. So all the other guys that were there, well, a few of the other guys, there was 4 other guys there that was in and around my age, and about the other 5 or 6 younger guys that were sitting there. They were disagreeing with a lot of what my contemporaries were saying, and most of them were agreeing with what I had to say. So see, there was division there regardless, no matter how little, no matter how small, no matter how large. There was division there. And what it is what I found out is this. Respect was coming from both sides. But both sides to a degree, well, not so much both sides, mainly the elderly side. They were being stubborn. And they were too busy talking about back in my day. You see, last night felt like a debate about who's the GOAT in basketball. Where you had one group rooting for LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, and the other group are rooting for Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird, or even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and what have you. But what they fail to realize is basketball. It's the business of basketball. The older guys didn't want to relinquish what they held on to, and the younger guys were pushing the lines, basically saying that, hey, look, the game is better now, and the players are better. When in all actuality, they really aren't. Everything evolves. You can never compare the times. But at the same time, too, now you both occupy this space. The Magic Johnson and the Michael Jordans of the world, they occupy the same space with LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, and the whole bit. And the young brother basically said that Michael Jordan was the only one that had skills. And that in basketball today, everyone has skills. It's a different game. And you have to understand when the landscape changes and there are certain rules to change the flow of the game, players play differently. You know? See, no one wants to get old until they're older. And everyone that's young wants to stay young forever. You know, there could be no them without us, right? And there soon will be no us without them. We have a tendency to be able to forecast and determine. Good morning, good morning. Who we got here? Good morning, Brother Will. How you doing this morning? Glad you can join me this morning, brother. See, we have to take advantage of what each of us has to offer and bring to the table, right? Because although the youth are seeing things today that we've never seen before, I mean, social media, the internet, the whole bit, it's just another way to navigate. It's just another way to make it through life. It's just another way to connect everyone. That's what social media is, right? So unless we were on the front end of it and saw the likes of what it can do, we are oblivious. I have a problem with passcodes. I have a problem with logins, right? See, because I was so used to dealing with things differently until we now have to acclimate ourselves to how things are being done now. Okay, well now, such as the youth are moving forward, and they're moving forward at a rapid pace. There are things that they're not going to see, and they're going to be blindsided by it. But with our foresight, we've seen these things before. We know when a hurricane hits our area, there's a possibility of flash floods and tornadoes. See, youth today think that when it's going to be a hurricane, they want to throw a party. So now, if you have the two of us that are giving dialogue back and forth, we have both ends covered, and we have the meeting of the minds in the middle. As I sat there and I talked with these younger guys last night, every protege needs a mentor. And every individual at some point in time is going to be a protege. I have no problem from learning from the youth. My grandson is 19 years old, and he has a successful online business, right? And he's a consultant, if you will. But there are many things. I have an online business. My online business is not as successful as I would like for it to be. It's not as successful as I know it can be if people would pretty much buy into what it is that we're selling, right? I am in a young man's game. I am Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson trying to come back to the league now as it exists. I see the game totally different. And don't get me wrong, I'm putting moves on these younger guys that they've never seen before. When I've sat and I've talked to my grandson and I've expressed things to him, he doesn't embrace it. But then he'll go on and he'll do his thing, and then maybe a year or so later, he's telling me about something that he's discovered. But it's the same thing I was telling him about a year earlier. So whose business suffers from this disconnect? Both of our businesses suffer from this disconnect. Because when I found out about this, and I'm talking about ChatGPT and AI, when I found out about ChatGPT and AI, I didn't know how to operate it. I didn't know, and I didn't have the patience to sit there and connect it to my business and truly get engrossed in the process. So what did I do? I know that my grandson is of the age of this era and the people who are creating this. But when I took it to him, he couldn't wrap his head around it, or either I wasn't explaining it properly, but I gave him a link to the website. But I'm just an old fart. So he didn't buy into it. So my business suffered. He, on the other hand, he was stagnated. I couldn't get off the ground and he was stagnated. So about a year later, when I've forgotten about it, you know, he discovered it. I mean, he talked about it as though he discovered America or he found gold. And he really did. But imagine had he embraced what I was trying to share with him a year earlier. See, no one wants to take me to task. I'm talking about no one younger. See, my peers don't understand what I'm doing. Because to them, I'm from Mars. And to me, most of them are dinosaurs. And the younger guys are just, they're flying and they're saying, Unc, you're still crawling. We're flying and you're still crawling. They don't want to listen to someone that's crawling. But they have to understand, before they learned how to crawl, before they learned how to fly, they had to crawl. Or their ancestors had to crawl. I think that when we sit down and we talk to one another, we'll realize that we have so much to share. We have so much that we can use from one another to enrich our lives and enrich our existence. And that's all we have to do. We don't have to get a line of people to line up and get in line and we group them and say, go shop. If there's a store in your community, and trust me on this, if we in the black community would frequent our stores, our black stores within our community, we're not hurting white stores. We're not hurting the Asian stores. We're not holding any of these other stores. We're not hurting them. Because see, here's the thing. How many Asians do you see going to any black stores that's within their community? You're going to say, we don't see any Asians. We don't see any Africans. We don't see any Indonesians. We don't see anybody else going to any black stores that's within the Asian, the African, the Indian communities. Why? Because there aren't any. There aren't any. They're not going to support your business the way you support theirs. Now, every now and then you get someone of another ethnicity, of another nationality, and they understand that, and they may patronize your business. They may come through every now and then, and God bless them. But they're not going to load up a van and they're going to drive down to your area and they're all going to come to your store, because they're not in your community. They don't live in your community. They would have to drive clean on the other side of town. And if there's a black store or business of some kind within a white community, 9 times out of 10, it's a restaurant. 9 times out of 10, it's an upscale restaurant. If it's a barbecue restaurant, that passes, because barbecue just goes all across the spectrum. But other than that, you're not going to find, if there's a black men's clothing store, man, he better be somebody from Europe. He better be somebody from Paris. You know, and he's probably African, because we all are of African descent. But, you know, you can't stick your head in the sand and say that there's not, and I don't want to use the term racism, but it's separatism. People go to places and do things that they're accustomed to doing and they're used to. When most immigrants come to this country, they open up a business in the black community because they know that that black community is underserved. And they know that just about everyone in that black community is spending cash money. So they don't have to give a lot of credit unless they're there for a long time and this person is constantly, continuously coming back. I think that there should be more forums and more sit-downs, more sit-ins with the millenniums, the Gen X's, the Gen Z's, And they could talk to someone older. You got kids today, they understand social media and they're making a heck of a lot of money fast, fast, fast. And what's happening with a lot of these businesses, they'll spring up today and they'll make $100,000 a month, right? And when these kids start earning $100,000 a month, they have no idea this is going to end. So what happens is society today would tell a person that's making $100,000 a month to open up many other revenue streams. It's not impractical. It's not impractical. It makes sense because what happens is this. What goes up soon comes down. And sooner or later, your business is going to be a fad. So you will need something else to fall back on. But you'll say, since I'm making $100,000 a month, this ain't gonna never end. So you don't do it. But sooner or later it happens. And now you're going to try and catch lightning in a bottle twice. And you live a high-flying, luxurious, expensive lifestyle. To whereas if you made $100,000 a month, your expenses was like $50,000 because everybody go out and buy the best of cars, they buy the best of clothes, they live in the best of homes, they travel the best of places to go. And you've done and lived your life the way a person does that's budgeting. That's probably making $100,000 a year. So now when that happens, now you're struggling to find something else. And I see everyone is getting into the digital creator business and the whole bit. We all are doing the same things. And it goes back to what I said with the liquor stores in the same community. In the Asian community, man, you might have 20 people that own liquor stores throughout the country. Throughout the city. In their own community, that they would be saturated. But you see, someone who's been there and elderly, you can follow their philosophy on budgeting and saving. There's nothing wrong with living the life that you live. But make sure that you squirrel some money away. You put some money away for hard times. Those $100,000 a year deals, they aren't going to last forever. If that were the case, man, many of you guys would still be on social media. You would have retired someplace doing some things the whole nine. You wouldn't be back on social media and you would have changed your format and doing something else. There's really no need to have multiple streams of income unless you're not certain that whatever your primary business is going to stand the test of time. So everyone now is a jump in. What they say, they're a one-hitter quitter. No business has longevity. No business has long life today. I need someone that's young, that's of the age of what I was talking to last night, to truly take the helm of my business. Because I know that I am the impetus. I am the impediment to this business. Because I don't have the skills to be young. I try my best to think like many of the youth. And I may even talk their language on here in terms of business. And my business model is designed just like most of the social media and the internet businesses today. But when you see my face pushing the business with a gray beard and gray dreadlocks, you say, look at him, bless his heart. That old man, he's, he got a nice young business and everything and the whole bit. So this is what you pretty much say. But I need someone that has a finger on the pulse of society and the culture today. Because after that conversation last night, and it took me 2 cigars to get through because I was enjoying it so much. We're more alike than different. All we have to do is just listen to one another. And if you're not a part of the solution, Even if you're just neutral, you're part of the problem. So don't talk about we don't stick together in the whole bit if you're not going to support or shop black businesses, or at least try to talk to some of your friends to contribute as well. You know, we're being oppressed and we're being suppressed even by our own. Our funeral homes and everything charge so much because guess what? Their overhead is expensive. They don't get the same break. And black folk are dying. Black folk are dying at a clip faster damn than white folk, to be honest with you. You know, we have so many health issues. The murder rate. And I just thought of it. What is that term that's used when it comes to immortality? Mortality. The mortality rate. So we're affected by poor living, poor health care, poor diets, living in communities where the water is contaminated, the air is contaminated, the area is crime-ridden. There are so many things that we have to navigate and we have to overcome. So it's a wonder we leave the house every day and we return every evening. It's a miracle. Many of you that's listening, any of you younger guys, man, any of you younger people that know how to navigate your way through social media, I'm asking you to contact me. And I'll be willing to give at least 15 to 20% shares of our business and help me crank it up and get you going. And you'll be 20% owner of our business. I'm doing addition by subtraction. I'm willing to give up 20% so we can make millions together. Isn't that addition by subtraction? Think about it. There's so much for us to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you guys for coming on board this morning. And I enjoyed you as always. Let's come together, people. We came together last night for about 2.5 hours. And it was a wonderful feeling. Thanks again. Enjoy your weekend. It's the Labor Day holiday. Y'all go out and have a blast, man. Peace.